then another problem came up. A lot of customers started complaining that they received different treatments in the service. And that really blew up in social media. And at some point, Charles Schwab went to his son, called his son by his complete name, like, son, we had a talk. We have a problem right here. Our customers are not being treated right. How do we fix this? That's the thing. If you don't document your processes as a business owner, if you don't know how to entrust the right people that can help you scale your customer service and business otherwise, then you're setting up yourself for failure rather than constant growth.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Daniel. Daniel, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. Appreciate to be here.
Awesome. So give us a highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Well, I am the quirky and crazy customer service passionate guy. Been in customer service for more than a decade now. Doesn't seem much for many, but to me it is. I am originally from the Philippines, was supposed to move to the US, but now I live in Mexico instead, because why not mix America and a bit of Philippines, right? So that's who I am. I am passionate with customer service because I've been working in customer service since 2011, and from doing the phone calls myself before, I am now the person who is selling the phone call. So quite an interesting turn of events. But yeah, thank you for having me today, Michelle. Really excited how we could blow away our audience today.
Nice. So how did you choose customer service as your field of interest?
Well, it's a funny story because my mother used to work for customer service herself for only one company ever. It's now called Found Ever. Not going to comment about that. Take a breath. Okay. My mother worked for Found Ever for 16 years. Back then it was known as Sitel and Client Logic. And I was raised like she was my coach. You know, she was not just my mother. She would correct me and discipline me the way that she would discipline her agents. And so if I was late coming home from school, it's like, that's your first night, that's your first warning. And I'm like, what happens if we get to the third warning? Then I never found out because I never dared. And somehow her influence to me being the leader that she was got me a knack for also wanting to help people. And so that's why when I turned 18, I decided to work at a call center as well and try customer service myself. And I found it very challenging, very scary, because my very first call was 6 cell phone lines that have been recently added to the account. There were many prorated charges, many unknown charges that were some posted on that account. A lot of, at the time was apps and things that were bought under her line. And so it was a whole mess. 6 lines, and that was my very first phone call. So that phone call lasted for an hour. it was fresh hell right there. But no, that's what got me into customer service. It was my mother and my knack for wanting to help people. And ever since that awful call, which was a life lesson for me, I just got more into customer service.
I love it. And I think it's kind of hilarious and kind of shows my age that you started out on a phone service with the cell phones. And when I started out, I had the great big panel that looks like like a rock star's equalizer board.
Yeah,
calls
that was
going in and out.
Viduya back then, and you had a prong. You didn't have to plug in a USB cord. It was a prong, literally like with 2 huge prongs, and that's what he used to listen to the phone calls, wasn't it?
Well, I wasn't that old. Yeah, it wasn't the 1950s. It was only the 90s. But yeah, it was really terrifying staring at the big panel of things. So talk to me about it. So you've come through, you've decided to help other people with their customer service. So who would you say now is your ideal clientele? Who do you work with the most?
The most that we work with right now would be e-commerce, but it's not just limited to e-commerce. We work with SaaS, we work with back office, we work with businesses that have customers, basically. Anything that is mundane and boring to do, and quite frankly, time consuming for someone who has more other important things to do, they give it to us. It's like, take it away from us. It's like, sure, why not? Right?
I love that. We work with any business that has customers.
Yeah, it has
We'll work
customers
with
and
the
has
ones
a
that
lot
don't
of
have
paperwork that
customers.
they find boring. Yeah, because some of them, one of them was like a business that had to do a lot of shipping labels, a lot of printing, a lot of encoding. They didn't want to do that. It's like, I don't want to do this the entire night. So while they were asleep, sound asleep in their beds, we would be printing their labels secretly. And then when they come into office the next day, it's like, oh, look, there they are, ready to stick and ship. That's it.
So
So that's
cute.
what we do. Anything that has customers, anything that has admin processes, we do it for them.
You like elves.
Yeah,
How is
we're
that?
like, well, you can call it that way. Yes, we're like the elves, in Hogwarts. We're in that hidden room of the castle where no one normally walks into, and when they do walk in, we all stare in amazement. Yeah.
Hilarious. So when it comes to typical customer service, what do you find most business owners are doing wrong, or what kind of mistakes are they making?
You know, this is I will quote this from a book that I read. This was The Ultimate Question 2.0 by Fred Reichheld. And business owners don't realize that when it's time for them to grow, that they sometimes forget that in order for you to be able to make sure that you're in that stage where you're ready to let go and just focus on your growth and not on your customers, is to maintain that level of service and ensure that there is proper knowledge cascaded to many people. The way that I would treat my customers as a business owner, if it was just me and my customers, would be probably different if I didn't impart my knowledge in a documented manner when I start hiring people. Maybe if I get an assistant or two, maybe I could teach them what I know, and that's okay. But what if we're talking about 100 people, 500 people, 600 representatives? You can't teach them with your minds. And what happens here is that normally when you pass one thought to another, mind to mind, something gets redacted, something gets reduced, something gets revised, something is not completely understood. And so the translation is lost along the way. And when that happens, a lot of the people that are working in the entry level starts giving services and treating your customers in a derived manner. Some would treat you like this, some would treat you like that, and that's when the business owners often neglect to see. And so this is a classic example with Blockbuster. When Blockbuster back then was very popular in the United States, they decided that the best way to treat their customers was some of them would be tacking on late fees, some of them would be, and so the service was derived. In some stores, it was great. In some stores, it was not. And when Netflix came out and promised that this is the service we're going to give you, we'll make it simple for you, we'll treat you right. Look what happened between Netflix and Blockbuster. This was mentioned in the Ultimate Question 2.0. Another is Charles Schwab, very famous bank of the United States. Charles Schwab was very in touch with his customers when he started the bank. Very customer service focused, very focused with the people, with his team. But as the business grew, his son took over, and Charles Schwab was, starting to retire, living his peaceful days. But then another problem came up. A lot of customers started complaining that they received different treatments in the service. And that really blew up in social media. And at some point, Charles Schwab went to his son, called his son by his complete name, like, son, we had a talk. We have a problem right here. Our customers are not being treated right. How do we fix this? That's the thing. If you don't document your processes as a business owner, if you don't know how to entrust the right people that can help you scale your customer service and business otherwise, then you're setting up yourself for failure rather than constant growth.
I totally concur, and did a video clip on kind of what are the top 3 mistakes that business owners make. And number 1 to me is hoarding knowledge and not creating those processes in order to create a business that they want to, because you can have 2 exact same businesses run by 2 different people that all of a sudden all of the processes become different because how they treat their customers innately is going to be different depending on how they want to build out the business. And I think that one of the interesting things, everybody looks at McDonald's and goes, oh, everything's exactly the same because of the processes in place, but they're actually in place because of Ray Kroc wanted every single burger to be exactly the same so that everybody had the same customer experience on it. And it wasn't just the automation of the technology and the machinery. It was actually the way people spoke and how they treated people, which is eventually where and would you like fries with that came from was every single time you have to ask that, because otherwise somebody will have a different experience and it affects the bottom line in more ways
It affects
than
the bottom. Absolutely. And it's funny when you talk about McDonald's, they did not just master like the processes, even the arrangement of the kitchen and how sequences go. They did that because they wanted to make sure that there is consistency. That arrangement is documented so that every store should follow that arrangement so that their customers could receive the same treatment, as could have the same expectations. And in the end, a global brand is known that this is the standard that they have when it comes to fast food. It's really important. You mentioned about knowledge being hoarded, because that's true. And sometimes they don't do it deliberately. Business owners don't do that. Sometimes they do impart that knowledge, but they don't impart it the right way. Sometimes they think that, okay, by me saying this, that I could trust my people that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. When the fact is, as a business owner, your responsibility is to make sure that your leaders, your top level executive leaders and operations leaders, document the processes, document everything so that there is a reference and one source of truth. Otherwise, if it's all in our heads, then we're going to be playing a game of guessing here and charades of which is the truth.
right. And then they wonder why their employees are doing it wrong. It's like, well, because you didn't tell them how to do it right.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easy to blame the employees, but the thing is,
Right.
as leaders, we should realize that the behavior of our employees reflects the way that we should be monitoring and honing our employees. If our employees are not performing right, then there must be something that we as leaders could do better.
Nice. So when you're working with somebody, well, let me back up first. At what point do you think that somebody should bring somebody like you in? Is there a right time to do it? Is any time right? When's ideal?
The ideal time for them to bring a trusted service partner is when they know that they are growing and they can no longer just keep things internal. It's when they know that when they need more people, but the admin tasks could be costly on their end, that they need to bring a trusted service partner. If you're not yet in full-on growth mode and you feel like you could keep things internal, or you feel like it's set back for now, then maybe it's not the right time just yet. But there comes a point when you do want to grow your business, when you notice that a lot more customers are coming in, when you notice that some of the processes you have are not yet documented and they have to be, when you notice that a lot more people need to be involved in creating an infrastructure for you for your support team, that's when you bring a trusted service partner. Because not only do service partners give you, we call ourselves service partners, by the way, we refrain ourselves from calling a BPO because it sounds too external. um we service partners don't just give dedicated people. They give an infrastructure of quality analysts, workforce management, training people, operations leaders, coaches, and everyone that is needed so that your support team can take care of your customers, but at the same time, your support team also can be taken care of by the support team, the operation support. So that's when that's the right time for you to bring a
I
service
love
partner.
it. So when you're working with somebody, if they need your help to be able to figure out how to allocate that workload to you, do you help them to figure out kind of, well, what are you doing now and what do you want to have done? Or is it usually kind of here's my client list, go take care of them, or here's my phones, go answer them?
It really depends. Some of them are pretty hands off, and so they tell us that, here it is, just deal with it. But some of them, are more in touch with their customers and they tell us what their problem is. They tell us what their pain is, and we work together with them to try to solve that problem. We don't just tell them that, look, we take the phone calls for you and that's it. You can leave us alone now. If they want to be in touch with their customers, if they want to be in touch with the processes and what we do, we get them involved with that. We show them what we do. We show them what's on the queue. We show them our processes. We show them recordings. We do triad sessions and sessions together so that we could better analyze and understand how we could improve the customer service. We get them immersed because what we understand ourselves to be is not just an outsourced partner, but rather a trusted partner that works with your systems, with your environment, with your processes, and we're doing this together. You did not just get us because we're offshore. You got us because you needed that additional help, and we see ourselves to be a part of you. That's what we do
I
for a
love that
client.
because I think a lot of people will, if they're looking for an inexpensive answer to an expensive problem, they'll bring somebody in that doesn't know what they're doing, and they just answer the phones, and you don't get that analytical support of like, hey, there's actually a systemic issue here. And I think based on all of my experience, it's probably based on this, right? Somebody that just comes in and answers phone isn't going to be able to have that kind of breadth and width of
Yeah.
knowledge to be able to work with them, to figure out problems that they wouldn't otherwise know. Because unless the CEO is sitting on the phone, they're not going to know.
And even if we argue that we bring in the best customer service representative and just it's that person right there, going back to what you said about when are you ready to, when should they think they're ready to outsource, that one person or a few people could only do so much. At some point, when you grow your team significantly, you need control. You need to have a structure. You need to have a foundation. And that kind of cannot happen alone when you only have customer service representatives. You need an infrastructure, a support team behind your support representatives so that there's coaching, there's development, there's documentation, there's correction, there's guidance, there's inspiration, there's something that can spark and help you scale this team. You cannot do it alone. And if you try to do this alone, it's going to come down on you like timber and it's going to be painful. We don't want that. We don't want our customers to come down on you saying that they're leaving because they're not happy anymore, or that, okay, I'll stay within the contract, but let you know I'm not happy, so I'm going to be canceling this when this contract is over. You don't want to hear words like that. So if you don't want to hear words like that, you need to have a team, either internally, externally, whatever it is that you wish. You need to have that foundational structure to ensure that your business grows naturally.
I love that. And I can't tell you how many times I've been on customer service calls going, is it possible for you to tell the CEO or, upper management that this is a systemic problem and like, this is not making me happy? Because so many times, especially with the big companies, especially with, no offense, but Canadian telecom companies,
I
I don't
know
think that
that.
goes anywhere. And it's like, oh, thanks for calling. We love you. Click on to the next person. And it's like they hear it every single time, and nobody cares. Nobody wants to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's crazy that you talk about that because I just had a similar experience with a telecom company here in Mexico. And it was so funny because I paid off my phone. It's I paid it, I paid off all the installments. I'm entitled to get this unlocked. It's been 6 months now and it's still locked. And I asked for support and it's like, we can't tell you when it could be unlocked. I'm like, that is not an acceptable answer. I've done my part. I've paid my bill. I've paid the phone. I've never been late. How could he tell me that he can't give me a timeline? That's just unacceptable. And the manager came in and he was arrogant to tell me that, oh, I'm not promising anything. Maybe it's 5 days, but that's the way it is. I'm like, you can't. It was just funny because that was that. I went to another store and an entry level employee from that store told me, look, this has been 6 months. I really don't know what's happening. What I could tell you is we need to email the manufacturer of your phone, but understand that it's been 6 months. So we're going to try to put this in the highest priority and I'll keep you posted. This is my number. I'll call you or I'll text you. I'll keep in touch with you. And let's make sure that it gets locked before you travel to the Philippines. It's the same solution between the two stores that they need
Wow.
to email the manufacturer. But the manager, without any sympathy, empathy, apology, was arrogant compared to an entry level employee from another store. And at my mind, I was like, wow, are they promoting the wrong people or what? And it's the
Right.
same thing with people thanks. I called
Wow.
one employee and this person was based offshore and the experience was completely different when I got someone from another center from another location. And I'm like, why is this happening? It's crazy that they choose the wrong people and they're promoting the wrong people. This is not just a systematic problem right now. Sometimes it's a problem of humanity. Thinking about how you treat your customers with full arrogance, knowing that one day, if you're going to be on the other side of that table, karma's going to come right back to you, right? It's just crazy. So I think that the biggest festering problem with customer service right now is the human element. a lot of people are just being empathetic, or they're being empathetic or empathic. Either way, sympathetic or, apologetic, not because they are, but because they're being paid to do that. And when that happens, you realize that your character slowly changes, and that what how you're supposed to feel and how you're supposed to treat people is going to come right back to you. Unfortunately, I was one of those people before. I was apologetic because I was paid to do so. But then when I was on the other side of that table asking for help with my phone or with my credit card because for some reason it got lost in the mail and it was a platinum card, and you know how US credit cards are, they're high risk, right? I just I said to myself, okay, now I understand why this is a big problem for us. We need to stop that thinking that we should be apologetic just because we're paid to do so. We should be apologetic because we know that people shouldn't experience that. That people should be treated differently. And that if you want to be treated the way that you want other people to treat you, you should know how to change yourself first. And you should stop being apologetic just because you're being paid to do so. And just for once, choose and make the right choice, that you're being apologetic because it's the right thing to do.
I love that. Well, and I think it's so easy to get used to what we do. We answer the same question 20 times in a day, whereas they're seeing it for the first time ever. And like, if they don't know where the big blue button on the right-hand side is, they don't know where the big blue button on the right-hand side is. It's like,
Yeah, it
maybe
really.
really obvious to you, but it's not obvious to them. And it doesn't hurt to just have some patience and go, oh, okay, I get it. You've never seen this
Yeah,
page
and
before.
not many
Is
of
it
them are
there? You might
adept
be
with
on the
that
wrong page. I
situation.
don't know.
Absolutely. Yes. Not many of them, not many of our customers sometimes are that knowledgeable that, oh, I was charged a restoration fee because I did miss that payment. Or that I was, that I apparently I broke my phone because I decided that toying with the volume down button and the power button at the same time would actually erase my phone. Yes, it happened to me one time. So this customer apparently was playing around with her phone, and I think she tried to, I don't know what she was doing, but at some point, she pressed down the volume down button or the volume up button and the power button at the same time. She said a weird screen came up and I started playing with it. And the ending was she bricked her phone. When you say brick to your phone was as good as a brick, because she tried to reset her phone and she stopped the process of doing so, and someone had bricked the phone. And so,
I just wanted a screenshot.
I'm not sure what she was doing, but
Well,
at the
that's how I get
time,
screenshots on mine. So I'd be
yeah,
terrified if all of a sudden I did that to my phone. Oh my God.
it was really unfortunate. And so that's why you have
Mhm.
to exercise that patience, that you would think that it's a foolish move, or that it's a bad move, but then again, they don't know. We know because we've done this 20s. Hell, I could do it 60 times a day. I could take 60 calls in one day, but that doesn't mean that I'm the better person. It just means that I should take that higher ground and understand that people are seeking for my help, and that one day I will be that person who's seeking for another higher ground from another person too.
Love that. So as a kind of CEO or president of the company, founder of the company, what are some of the problems that are happening in the company that I can see that I'm going, oh my God, Daniel, I need you guys so badly?
When they start seeing a huge loss in customers, that's number one. Or number two is that if they start seeing those negative remarks paired with metrics not being met, service level agreements like the wait times being more than 5 minutes or email response time being more than 24 hours, that's when they need help badly. Because some of them choose to try to, it's like, okay, let's take our time and analyze the processes here and fix this internally. And what happens here, and this is a classic example right now, it's actually happening, that I'm talking to one potential client, and this potential client is like, we'll try to resolve this internally, yet a lot of their customers right now are still suffering from flight cancellations, and they're not able to get through. The longer that you do that, the longer that you're going to be losing customers. And I'm not just saying this for the sake that, it's a revenue for me. No, honestly, it's not. It's more of thinking about your customers, because at some point when they do walk away and when that word of mouth gets out, a lot of them are going to be shifting to another airline. A lot of them are going to be shifting their choice to another alliance partner. And this is true. Like, I think it's safe to say that it's in the news media, so I'm not disparaging this. It's just a fact that's out there. Frontier is facing $100 million lawsuit for their customers being overcharged with baggage fees. They're charging them $100 for a handbag that could fit literally in the carry-on, and so they slapped $100 million lawsuit against Frontier. But the bigger party is not just the money. It's the fact that Frontier has lost its reputation and people are starting to switch back to Delta, to United Airlines, to American Airlines, where even if it's more expensive, they'd spare themselves from the pain and rather pay more than actually having to face bad experience. That's the thing. If you wait for a problem to fester, it could end up being a lawsuit. It could end up being your customers walking away altogether. It could end up even your employees, your internal people who are struggling walking away together. So don't wait for that point to happen. If you see a problem, fix it. Don't let it fester and do something about it. Whether it's getting a service partner, whether it's fixing the problem internally, make sure that you fix it and don't take your sweet time fixing it because your customers are suffering at the end of the day. Money can pay many things, but it cannot pay time. Money can buy you a car, it can buy you a mansion. It can even probably extend your life if you're, if you're buying these expensive supplements, but it cannot buy time. It cannot buy lost time. Specifically, time cannot be bought. That's something that you either lose or gain. Simply that you gain time in the future, or you've already passed your time, and that's it. Every second that ticks, it cannot buy that. It's money for some, but it cannot buy that. Nor can you buy it back. Customers who lost their time having to call you, customers who lost their time experiencing flight delays, customers who lost their time because their baggage is missing and they've spent hours and days looking for it. You cannot buy that back.
Mm. Yeah,
so
totally agree. And we could have an entire half-hour conversation just on the airlines, trust me.
Yeah.
Give us an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Define Cinderella story, because I'm like the evil stepmother.
We could go from messy to organized, from this isn't working to wow, you guys are amazing.
Yeah, I could tell you Cinderella's story for sure.
Yeah.
There was this one customer who has, student loans in the United States eat up a lot of Americans' finances. Literally eats up your paycheck. And this customer was struggling to make ends meet. And the customer at first called in and make a forbearance on the loan. And take note, a forbearance does not stop interest from accruing. It continues. Deferment does, but forbearance does not. She called in, decided that forbearance was the easiest way because it did not require any income and statements and such. So it was the quickest way. And I said to her, look, I'd love to give you some advice here because you told me that you're struggling to make ends meet, that you're trying to pay off this loan, but you can't. So I'm giving you this recommendation first. If you could fax me or email me a copy of the financial struggles you have, which is you're in a fixed income right now, you're already receiving food stamps. In that way, instead of placing a forbearance in your account, I'll put a deferment in right now and I'll have someone approve it from the office that I'm in. So she was doing that, and I said, look, this is the next plan that I want to put you in. I highly encourage you to be in an income-based repayment option. That is, after your deferment, this is what you can do. Being in an income-based repayment option, it shows how much income you have, considers your income strongly, and then we structure that payment to be in that payment option. And the thing about the income-based repayment option is it depends on the type of program or loan that you availed. If you're in that payment option for 10 to 20 years and you've paid on time, your loan could be forgiven. Yeah. Some of them, yeah.
I'm in the background going, 20 years. What? Holy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, 20 years is actually a short amount. Some of them paid for 40 years. I've experienced placing a forbearance on someone's deathbed. It was an ugly situation. That's why after that situation, I encouraged them to always go in the income-based repayment option. The income-based repayment option, it really depends what program you have, but your loan could be forgiven after 10 to 15 years, 20 years for some. So you have to pay on time. Pay on time, pay based on your income. It's minimal. In that way, the entire loan could be forgiven. I've seen $500,000 loans for medical.
This has been an educational experience, and I want to know, as a business owner, what kind of problems am I experiencing that I need to hire you to take care of my customer service problems?
Well, as as a
Sorry, we went over that. I wanted to go, what was the Cinderella story for a CEO of
yeah.
kind of, they needed you to take over their issues?
Oh, the Cinderella story. I was thinking about the customers. So this is for the customers.
I got that.
After I
That
placed
was
them
very
in
educational.
after I placed them in that, they were extremely happy, grateful, and it was Cinderella story
Right.
for them. But for a CEO, the Cinderella story was it's pretty hard because I have a lot of Cinderella stories here, but I think that the biggest one, fitness studio in the United States. You know how coaches are training in the studios, but they tend to get a lot of phone calls, and so they can't do all things at the same time. If you're training in the studio and the phone rings incessantly, that's a big pain and turn off for many people, right?
Right.
They didn't know what to do because they had 85 studios nationwide.
Nice.
And so their phones were ringing off the hook. And we told them, well, they told us that they could hire a receptionist, but then it was out of their budget. They couldn't do that. They were already paying for the studio. They had they had the app and all these things. That's when we actually told them, look, we could keep it simple for you. We have people that could be the receptionist. If there are any escalations, and we could work with your team to make sure that these things are resolved. And so their 85 studios are now being served by us, and that's pretty much it. It's a certain story for them, because what happened here was that from that incessant ringing with their phone calls with the studios that they had, it turned out to be that they didn't have to hear those incessant phone calls anymore, and instead it went to us. And any escalations they had, any problems like key log access and such, we worked with their team onshore to make sure that the doors were unlocked and such, and everything came out perfectly. And so that, I guess, it's not the most romantic, but it's, again,
but it does, when you're going from
you're
getting driven nuts from the phone ringing to all of a sudden peace and quiet and customers and being taken care of. That's pretty awesome. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start their journey with you?
Well, they could go to supportzebra.com, book a consultation, and come to me. My promise here is that I'm not going to be incessant in trying to sell something unless they really tell me that this is something they need. If they simply want to consult, know more about how they could solve their problems, solve the customer service issues that they have, they can always come to me, and I'm happy to give them that solution. And if they feel that they are ready to trust this as a service partner, that's what we're here for.
Nice. Love it. So peeps, go ahead and click on Danielle's links, open them up in a new browser because we have more on the way. So Danielle, at what point in life did you know that you were especially kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
At some point in my life, it was when I was buried in credit card bills. Visa was not paying itself out, so I had to. No, it was not just that. It was simply because I thought to myself, how could I do this at scale? How could I do something that was not just, for me to be, depending on something anymore? How could I be an entrepreneur and get passive income yet enjoy what I do, is what it was. Because I did enjoy taking phone calls, don't get me wrong. But then with Visa breathing down my neck, and with me thinking how I could do this at scale, that's what inspired me to become an entrepreneur. By the way, still love Visa. I love Visa. I love my credit cards.
And they really aren't lenient. I love it. Daniel, you've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Remember authenticity, stay true to yourselves, and stay true to your support service. The more that you're authentic, the more that your customers will appreciate it. That's it for me, Michelle. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and I know how valuable it is.
Thank you.
Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.